So welcome to our September 2023 edition of Home Studio Show and Tell. If this is your first time with some of our Edge Studio free programming, welcome. We are so happy to have you here. If this is your, I don't know, 100th or so time since we've been doing these since 2020, we're glad that you are back. For new people, obviously your Zoom experience is probably something you're somewhat familiar with, but we are I am going to guide your journey this time a little bit. So oftentimes I tell you to, in the right-hand corner, you have a view option if you're on a desktop, and you can do gallery or speaker. And speaker means that that person will be highlighted for you, but gallery means we can see people's faces if folks are choosing to be on camera tonight. I believe you have your ability, actually, maybe I've taken that ability from you. You do have an option to have your camera on or off here in our space. And you can also, however, yes, you can do that. So you can also just join us in the chat. That's where we're going to communicate the most, because as much as I love hearing all of your voices, that gets a little chaotic. So I am your benevolent Zoom dictator for the night. And so what that means is we're going to showcase our fabulous guests, and we're going to communicate via chat. And I will be sure that your questions, comments, and love letters make their way to our special guests tonight, as well as to our Chief Edge Officer, David Goldberg. David, how are you on this not quite autumn New York evening?
It is full summer here. It's 93 degrees or so. Yeah, I'm well. Siobhan, you missed last month's episode, which was great. So nice to have you back. And I must say, I am super. No, I'm going to use a word that I never really used. Stoked. Someone used that in an email to me today, and I thought, you know what? Let me see if I can reuse that. I am super stoked to have Rosie and Brian with us tonight. Soon enough, we'll hear a bit more about them. But I was just wondering, guys, when did we meet? How many years ago? Decades ago, I think.
Probably. I think so.
Quite a while ago, yeah.
I think I met you first.
One of the WovoCons.
No, FAFCon.
FAFCon,
yeah, probably a FAFCon.
You were at a FAFCon conference. I think, who knows, maybe my first one?
I remember Tucson, but I knew we already knew you before then.
Oh, you remember that? Okay.
I mean, I remember seeing you in Tucson. That was quite a while ago.
I think I met you in Atlanta.
Wow.
At the WovoCon in Atlanta. Yeah, that was my very first one.
We go way back.
And then that's when I had decided, because we had been full-time musicians, and I had decided to start investigating the world of voiceover. I was already doing it, but in terms of making it into a full-time gig, and that was the the conference that kind of changed my life. And so after cool. that, it really did. After that, I said, Brian, you have to go next time that there's a conference, because there's all these wonderful people to meet and so much learning that happens. And I remember some of the things I learned from you, David, at that conference. It was like my world bust open, like, oh, I should be doing this and this and this and this and this. Okay, I have a lot of homework now just from this one guy. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Well,
that's so cool. That's awesome. Well,
I promise.
Oh, sorry, Siobhan.
No, go ahead, David. Sorry.
No, well, anyway, yeah, it's really fun for me to know voice actors for so many years.
Yeah.
But and hear their work and hear their voices, but never see their studios. And now to actually get a peek inside their studio is very fun. So thank you guys for joining us tonight.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
And I was just gonna say I didn't pay them to say that, to give kudos to their experience of knowing David and Edge, but it does lead me into my next segue of a quick announcements of a new program we're offering called Unlimited Workouts and Guidance, and it's group voice workout sessions and business check-ins with David. So as I like to do, I'm going to drop a little linky link in the chat for you to check out our new Unlimited Workouts and Guidance sessions. Okay, so then let's begin. As you all know, actually, we have two guests and they are sharing a square today. And that's very heartwarming and wholesome. Yeah. So as is a little more rare to me, our special guests tonight, I don't actually personally know, but this would be Rosie and Brian. And Rosie and Brian, my sort of Zoom tradition is to have you two take it away. If you could fairly succinctly, I'm into monologues, but we only have an hour here together. So you can tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got
Sure.
into voiceover. So that gives us some context to get us going tonight.
Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely. Well, I'm Rosie, obviously, Amador. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and my father was from Argentina. My mom was raised in New York of Puerto Rican descent. And with Brian, I live in Cambridge with our family.
And I'm originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I met Rosie here in Boston, and we've been together now for a long, long time.
Yeah,
And
music brought us together.
yeah, before we
was-
had a voiceover
yeah.
career, we were doing music together since 1984.
Yeah.
And we're still doing that with our band Solicanto. And but then we decided that when we had kids and they were in high school, it wasn't really a good idea to be on
Middle
the
school even.
middle school.
Yeah,
It wasn't, we
yeah.
didn't want to be on the road all the time anymore.
Yeah.
So we found the voiceover career, and that took off.
Well,
and,
it kind of found us.
yeah.
What happened?
That's true.
Here's the story. What happened was that a couple of things happened. A fan of ours had a program, an educational program that taught Spanish through music and vocabulary and storytelling. And she hired me and put me in a studio. And I was like, I kind of like this. And then another friend who was a poet and a musician also hired us to do some work for, I think it was Scholastic at that time. This was back in before we had kids. So
Reading bilingual audiobooks.
96, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we were in a studio and we really enjoyed it. We found that we had a knack for it. Then when I got pregnant, they noticed that we were mixing an album, and they were hearing the hospital, said, wait a minute, you have a Latin band. Would you be willing to do a testimonial? Use your own words, but come to a studio. And then I went to a fancy studio to do radio spots and TV spots for them.
They did radio, print, TV, the whole thing.
I had so many people listening in, and you know what? I handled it really well, even though I had never been in that context, perhaps because I'm so used to the microphone. And I kind of fell in love with it and thought, oh, someday maybe I'll do this. So when the kids were in middle school, I said to Brian, I'm going to start investigating this potential career. I took one workshop, met some people, then came to this conference, FAFCon, like less than a year later, where I met my tribe. I met all these other bilingual, and there weren't that many, bilingual voiceover talent. And then I said to Brian, you need to come into this career with me, because we can still be musicians, but we can do something that's sustainable and that will allow us to be with our kids and not to be touring all the time.
Something you can do from home.
And that's it. And we already had a studio. It wasn't really a voiceover studio. It was a music studio. So we made some changes and I started trying my luck at it. And I had some good luck. I did all kinds of things to get started. Looking locally, I started with some pay-to-plays as well. I did everything that I was advised to do. And it took off. And we are bilingual voiceover talent, and
English, Spanish.
That's a huge advantage. And I knew that. And so when I came up with the name, I didn't even do any market research. I said, in the US, bilingual means English and Spanish. So I'm just going to call us Amador Bilingual Voiceovers. Our last name, Amador, is clearly a Hispanic name. And I think people are going to figure it out. Well, little did I know that's exactly the case, because when I ask people, how did you find us? Oh, I Google bilingual voiceover. So it has helped us immeasurably. And I would say probably 70% of our work is in Spanish. We specialize in neutral Latin American Spanish, although I can do Puerto Rican and Argentine. Brian can do Southwestern New Mexican and more Mexican. But our specialty is neutral. And of course, English. And the big advantage that we have is that we have no accent in either language.
Unless people want it.
Because
a fair amount of our work is also English with a Hispanic accent.
Yeah.
And I actually created a widget on our website called the Accentometer, where you can decide how much accent you want, if you want an accent. So the basic setting is welcome to the Accentometer. With this revolutionary tool, you can, and then you dial it up to 2 or 3 and say, welcome to the Accentometer. With it, and you keep going up and it gets higher.
Pretty fun.
Welcome to the Accentometer. And it's actually been very practical.
It's from 1 to 6.
It's practical because for a long time,
joke in it.
clients were saying, can you do this with a Hispanic accent? And I'd send them something. They say, no, that's too much. And I'd send them less. And they say, no, it's still too much. And then I just talk the way I talk. And they say, that's perfect. So I decided, well, if we could get that all out of the way at the beginning, it would be a lot better. So that's when I came up with the Accentometer.
So that makes me, I just want to say one thing, because we talk about this a lot, David, in the Ask Me Anythings and we talk about identity, we talk about accents, learning an accent, and I just want to highlight again for folks like what these two are talking about is coming into voiceover as their authentic selves. And I love that. I love that you like own that and like that you're like, I am bilingual and that's what makes me awesome and hireable. And you know, obviously, if you're not bilingual, I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, but also like you can own your identity, right? And don't, you know, I've said this before, please don't try to put on an accent. Please don't try to, you know, if you're doing character work, that's like one thing, obviously. But in general, like own who you are and what is special about you. And clearly they are speaking to that as their experience. And I just love that. I love the way that we can, you know, celebrate your Eunice and how you have an accentimeter. Not everybody can do that though.
No, and or do it authentically. I mean, that's it. We are, you really nailed it, because we don't do any, like, for example, I speak French, but I will not voice in French because I'm not a native speaker and I can't, you know, authentically, I can't do it. So, so we do what we know we can do. And, you know, I just channel my dad from Argentina, who never spoke English well, you know. But it comes in handy because we do a broad variety of genres in our voiceover work. We do, well, one of the most fun things we do, and David knows this very well, is we narrate children's bilingual audiobooks. And we've been doing that for many years, and lots of character voices.
Which we also do the music for sometimes.
Yeah, we write the music, but we also do corporate narrations. We do commercials. We do a ton of PSAs. We do a ton of e-learning. E-learning is half of our work in both English and Spanish. I would say more leaning towards the Spanish. And we also do a lot of museum audio tour work, as well as a ton of work for PBS. In fact, WNET is one of our biggest clients from channel, what is it, 7 over there? 13, sorry, what am I saying?
13 WNET.
Yeah, they're one of our biggest clients. We love working for PBS stations around the country, and they look for us because they want authentic Spanish, native Spanish speakers, and sometimes English as well, you know, bilingual people as well. So this makes it possible for us to do all these different kinds of things, having that command of the 2 languages. So that's kind of us in a nutshell, mixed up with the music part. I sing, Brian plays guitar, he sings, and actually our son Zia is a gender fluid voiceover talent too, and he also records in the studio. And our daughter Alisa used to record, but then the tiny desk took her away. So now she's a full-time musician. So all 4 of us were in the family biz. Now it's 3.
Okay, so
you know, you have some great comments in the chat.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Why don't you? Oh, you have them there? Yeah. Oh, great. He's pulling them up on the computer.
Yes, people are writing. It's inspiring to hear your bilingual work. Someone says it's the accent meter is super funny. It's great. So we are so anxious to see your studio. Let's see your studio.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We see you. How does it go from your mouth to like the airwaves? Let's see.
All right. Okay. Let's flip this around here.
You guys, Rosie, did you enter with another camera, and should I be highlighting a phone as well?
Oh, Brian did enter.
I entered from our computer just so I can see the chat. But
okay, so this is the screen reader. Okay, so I'm gonna.
This is the screen where I'm showing. Now you get to see our studio. We live in an old
Let's say up
house.
front. If I understand correctly. Oh, sorry.
I was
so if I understand correctly, you have 2 studios. Is that correct?
That's right.
We do. This
That's
is
right.
our Studio A. As a matter of fact, you can see it right here. Studio A. Alisa made us this sign. We used to have a light that we could turn on when we were recording, but that went out some time ago. Anyway, this is an old house. It's from the 1860s. And so this room, as you can probably see, has old wood paneling. It's like pine paneling from who knows how long ago. There's a soundproof curtain that I installed, and there's a sound damping window inside that.
From soundproofwindows.com.
That's right.
We have 2
so
windows
we installed both of these things to bring down the noise in the room from the street. And then
wait, I'm going to interrupt, and this will happen a lot, guys. You purchased Windows from soundproofwindows.com.
We did.
I'm sure that is something that will be interesting to a lot of people.
Okay.
Was that mail order? Did they come out to your home?
No. We you measure it and send them the measurements, and then they ship it to you in a very heavy wooden crate. And
it's the full window, right? As opposed to a covering over the window. Is that correct?
It's a full window. It fits inside the window frame.
Okay.
I don't know how well you can see it, but it's a
think they can
complete
see.
window. You can open it, but we never do
No,
because
we don't.
we always
open
need the
windows yet.
soundproofing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
'Cause
yeah,
This looks out right on the street. Thank God we live in a
and
kind of a
then
quiet
the
neighborhood.
curtain here is also, it's like triple thickness. It's very heavy, and that dampens a lot of sound as well. So when all of these things are closed, we have a pretty quiet space.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, the area where we actually record, we don't have a booth per se. What we have is a Portabooth Pro right here. And but under this is underneath these tubes that you can see. There was a friend of Rosie's from college who stayed with us a few years ago with her husband, who had been a sound engineer at the BBC. And I asked him to take a look at my studio and give me any suggestions he had. So he recommended this. You get these cardboard tubes from Home Depot or wherever. They're basically I think they're for pouring cement pilings, basically.
They're called sonotubes.
So, yeah. And then these are filled with rock wool insulation. So between the curve of the tubes, which breaks up the sound waves, and the insulation, you get very, very, well, zero reflection from the ceiling. Then
And then
behind that, we have moving blankets that go over the top and down behind the studio. So when you step into this little area, that's the actual recording part. I don't know if you can hear the difference, but the sound is completely different than it is in the rest of the room.
And then, of course,
That's cool.
we use my iPad, and that's where we have all of our scripts and our reference videos and everything that we need in order to be able to do our work. And I just scroll and find what I need to record, and that's that. And then I have ways of being able to mark up my scripts, etc. And then we also have a keyboard.
So here's our little mixing board. We have a keyboard here so we can control.
Tell them about the mixing board.
The mixing board is this great little thing. It's a Zoom LiveTrack L8. One of the features that I love about this is that it has this little input where you can plug your iPhone in. So when we're doing directed sessions, we have a phone patch through the iPhone. They hear what we're speaking into the microphone, and we hear them through the headphones. It's just like they were here with us. And the sound is fantastic.
I'd like to go back for a moment, back to your Porta Studio.
Yeah.
You have the monitor right in front of the microphone. Does that cause any reflections?
I haven't noticed any.
Yeah, we wondered about that, but we've asked all our clients. No one has complained about it or noticed any.
I mean, I usually tilt it back a little bit so it's not pointing straight at us,
Okay.
but
That's
we haven't had a problem with it.
Yeah, and did you talk about the microphone? I think they might be interested. I don't
Well,
know.
if anybody wants to know, it's an AT4040, very clean mic.
That's what we use.
We
And in
just
fact,
use the XLR as opposed to a USB.
Yeah.
and when I travel and record remotely, I use the same exact microphone, so that I can have a consistent sound. So that we can have a consistent sound.
We just recently purchased a tri-booth for travel, and we just used it for the first time, actually.
Yeah.
We were on vacation the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the sound
is same mic,
it's fantastic.
and a different interface. We use the Podmobile, actually.
Yeah.
That we had just purchased, and the sound is really similar to our studio, which makes me really happy because then we have consistent sound for our clients. It's a dream.
So that's Studio A. You want to see Studio B?
Wait, maybe they have questions. Let's find out.
One person just said they like the tri-booth. Yeah. Any questions, anyone? This is great, guys. So interesting to see. And the space that you're in is terrific to have such a large space. And I assume that most everyone on the call knows that old wood paneling is a lot better than sheetrock because it is going to absorb more sound. But that's still a lot of wood we're seeing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's hugely helpful.
Yeah,
Little did we
you
know
can
when
see
we bought
these
this house and we were
Huge
not
old
voice
beams.
actors.
This is post and beam construction. This is the house is from the 1860s. And actually, this was originally the kitchen of the house. This fireplace here
Which obviously we do not use.
is where let's see, is it showing? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Is where used to be the kitchen of the house.
And now it's a collection of guitars.
There are instruments, yes.
Wow.
My grandmother's painting of horses.
You realize back in 1860, the people who lived there could not have even dreamed of the kinds of equipment
No.
you have in here now, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now move slowly so you don't
All
get
right,
them
so now we're
dizzy.
going to move very slowly through our main office here.
This is
Really
right.
quickly, since you asked, I do have some questions if you want to pause.
Okay, sure,
in your
sure.
tracks.
Why don't we turn the
Yeah.
camera around so they can see us for a
Okay,
second?
fine.
Yeah, let's do a little intermission moment here.
Okay, here we go. All right, we're back.
Okay, here we
Okay.
are.
Oh my God. You guys, how is anybody getting a cavity from how like sweet they are? It's too much. It's too much. Like
sure.
music and language. You know, I'm like, come on. Okay. So
You didn't
first
see
of
us
all,
fighting over the phone, over who was
Yeah,
going to
I
hold the
didn't.
phone. You didn't see that part.
That's an important reality check.
I
that
want to
that
do it.
really
No, he
need.
wants to do it.
So the first question is super basic, but where do you find your rock wool? Like, do you like go to a store? Like, where do you guys do that?
I think I got that from Home Depot.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Home Depot has a lot of the things we need. Terry is asking, do you have clouds?
That's a very good
Clouds?
question. I wish I knew what he meant by
I know, Terry, I'm not sure either. I was just asking them. Look at Terry. He's like, oh, I was just asking them like they would know because I don't know. And I was just like, let me just say this. But he's going to tell us in the chat what he means, I'm sure.
Can you turn Terry on, Siobhan?
Actually, I can. You know what? You all have the privilege and pleasure of meeting Terry, who is one of the most charming Zoom squares, that there is.
Oh, ceiling treatment.
Is that what it is?
There you go.
Oh,
Okay. Well, no, the tubes that I showed you with the rock wool in them, that's basically what we have.
That's it.
On the ceiling, and then the
That's it.
moving blanket above that or behind it. I
Pretty
guess.
brilliant move. I got to give
Thank
you
you.
on that one.
Well, it works. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, everybody, when we made those changes, we asked our clients, what do you think? We're working on improving our sounds. Everybody was very happy. So,
yeah,
so far, so good. And we've been doing this since 2010.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Terry was also asking where your house is located, like some of the geography. Like, are you in a dense neighborhood? Are you in the burbs?
Yeah.
Like,
We're in the neighborhood of North Cambridge, Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, right near Boston.
Which is, Cambridge is a fairly densely populated city, but North Cambridge is a little less so. There are houses with yards, so we actually have a pretty good sized yard, and there's a fair amount of street noise, but it's not horrible.
Well, it's
one thing we do
it's
have.
Mostly rush hour. And after that, not so much. We
Yeah.
really don't. But we do have a train that
If
runs behind our.
If a big truck goes, if a big truck
Well,
goes by in house,
No,
you
but
can
trucks are not allowed to go by.
But some do.
Well,
and
UPS
you hear
trucks.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what we do have, we're on the commuter rail that goes out to the western suburbs of Massachusetts, and when the train goes by, all you can do is pause.
You have to.
Because
you just kind of.
fortunately, we can kind of hear it coming before the mic actually picks it up, so we can just
a little bell.
Take a little break and let the train go by, and then.
When I first started, I thought, oh, this is so embarrassing, and then I realized, you know what? It's part of the charm. I'm just going to tell them and be upfront, and that's exactly what I did. I said, we have a friendly neighborhood train that comes by once in a while, and we're lucky enough to be getting it right now. But look, it's already gone because it's that fast. Yeah. So it doesn't interfere. It's, again, mostly during rush hour, and during the day, it comes by very seldom.
It's about once an hour during the day.
Yeah,
once or
so
twice
it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. So that would be the worst thing. Of course, if a neighbor decides to have a fight outside, that's another matter. But fortunately, that doesn't happen between 9 and 5.
Oh, that guy. No, his fights are usually in the middle of the night.
4 in the morning. No, but we're very lucky.
This is from Chloe. She's asking because you have your laptop in your Studio A, and does it ever pick up the fan noises or any of the difficulties
We don't use a
laptops?
In Studio A, we have a desktop computer, and the only time we've had any noise.
Yeah, why don't you show it to them again, and then we can talk about it.
Let's switch this around again.
Yeah.
Rosie has a laptop that she uses right here.
But that's just
that's mostly for business.
For admin.
But no, in Studio A, what we have is a desktop computer here.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, the only time that we've had any problem with noise from the computer is when I was using Firefox.
Mm-hmm.
And Firefox uses
At the same time as Chrome.
ton of memory,
Mm-hmm.
and it ends up making certain computers noisy. They kind of hum.
Yeah, this is a pretty quiet computer.
And once I
Yeah.
switched to Safari, the noise went away completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah. And plus, as you saw, show them the porta booth. We're at a bit of a distance. You know, we're not right.
Yeah,
on
the computer
top
is not right
of
next to the
computer.
microphone.
So there's a
Mhm.
little bit of isolation with the porta booth, and you know, between that and the distance, I think we're
Yeah.
always in good shape. Yeah.
Good.
That's
Okay.
it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I have a
Um,
question. What happens
yeah.
if both of you have to record at the same time?
To avoid a divorce, we
Well,
created our Studio B.
that's where Studio B
Good
comes in.
segue, David. Very good.
We're gonna take you over there right now.
Thank you.
Illustrate that point. We thought, oh my God, I would be like, Brian, get out of there. I need to record. And finally we said, this is going to lead to a divorce. I've got to do something about
So
it.
this here is our son's bedroom, but
Yeah.
if you go through a little corner of it, you get to the walk-in closet. And in this closet, we have Studio B.
Right. So show them everything above.
So
below.
again, we did ceiling treatment. I have the
Yeah.
ceiling blanket that's kind of sagging down, so it takes up more space. We have
Plenty of pillows,
plenty of clothes to absorb all
Yeah,
kinds of
clothes.
sound.
blankets.
There's really not anything in here that
It's real life. It's a real life studio.
there's
We
not
use-
really anything that
Mhm.
reflects sound in here.
No,
So
no, and it's cedar. It's a cedar closet. So
now,
again, all wood.
because
Yeah.
this room is not quite as well insulated as the studio,
Mhm.
I decided to put a more isolating microphone here. So here we have the Sennheiser 416,
Mhm.
which is very directional. And so generally we can pretty much match the sound from Studio A if
That's right.
we get the settings just right.
So the dicey thing about Studio B is that it's under the kitchen, whereas Studio A is under the dining room. The dining room we only use, you know, when people come over
when
at
we're
night.
dining.
What? When we're dying?
When we're
dining.
dining.
Okay,
Dining.
thank you, because I don't want to die anytime soon.
Yeah.
Good. And Studio B, however, if someone is cooking lunch while I'm recording, I have to go up and say, please do not walk on this part of the kitchen because I'm recording and I can hear your steps,
Yeah.
you know? Or if the radio is on, you can hear the bass notes, you know, and so that needs to get turned off. But, you know, we're a voiceover family, so.
So the computer for this this setup is down here. Let's see if I can find it.
What do you mean? You can find it's right there.
Yeah, if I can find it with a camera.
Oh,
There
the
you-
camera.
Yeah, it's a Mac Mini,
Yeah, it's a Mac Mini. That's it.
and it does the trick.
Yeah. So, and as you can see, the Studio B, did you show?
Yeah.
The Studio B.
Oh yeah.
This is the
All
Studio B.
right. All right, she made a sign.
She
for
made
that
a
one.
sign for that one too. And this is our little mouse amigo. It was one of my swag items for a FAFCON conference way back in the day, to hold your papers up and hold your cables for your mouse back when they weren't, you know, wireless. So we have that as a souvenir of our past.
Yeah, so that's where we are.
Yeah. So this is where so sometimes we're both recording at
Yeah.
the same time. And also this is really good when we do punch and roll, because Brian recently taught me how to do punch and roll.
Well, for
using
overdubbing
twisted
in general,
waves.
this is a little easier setup to use since we have the computer, I mean the monitor right here. So
Yeah.
if you're, you know, trying
If
to
I'm recording, I can very easily reach
Yeah.
the you know, and the screen is right in front of me, whereas the other studio, it's farther away. So it's a little harder. I have to cock my head sideways to be able to see the screen.
If you
Yeah.
record in
you-
Studio B, do you edit in Studio B also, or would you edit back in Studio A?
Sometimes if it's short, sometimes I'll edit it here.
Sometimes we'll edit right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Oftentimes, if Rosie's working in Studio A, for example, and I record in Studio B, I might go into the office and edit with headphones there,
Yeah.
just because I can sit down there. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, it's more comfortable. I mean, we actually record, well, at least I do. I record everything standing up. I rarely sit
Yeah,
down.
so do I.
just find I like to be able to move. And by the way, this might be interesting to people. We have ergonomic mats on the
Right.
floor
As a matter of fact, there's
that
one on.
we'll show you.
There's
Yeah.
one here,
This is a very small one because this is a small space. So, oops, sorry about that.
but it really
But that cushioning really helps my
it
feet.
takes a load off your feet
Yeah.
and off your back.
And I have
And we
there
have
was a funder of something called an ergomat, which we have in Studio A, which is a really, really cool ergonomic mat that has a little bump in the middle.
this one is
And the
super
cool
comfy.
thing about it is that you can, I often take off my shoes, but you can kind of like, especially if you're getting a little bored, if you're doing something that's very slow and you're losing your focus, you can kind of move around. Obviously, you have to stay on axis for the microphone, but I move around quite a bit when I record. And it, first of all, it's super comfortable because it's springy, but it also helps you to kind of exercise your feet. And it makes me more alert.
Another advantage
Yeah.
of this is that, given our old house with old floors, sometimes they're a little bit squeaky. So this,
that's right.
this mat can tend to muffle that somewhat.
That's right.
So.
That's true. That's true. It used to squeak
Mm.
more before we put
Yeah.
that in. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Real
we've
quick-
kind of made things work, for us. And this room, oh, by the way, we didn't mention it, but this door is super thick.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Pepito, that's our dog. He thinks someone's coming in. It's okay. Mi amor, soy yo. Woo-hoo.
Well, somebody wants to know what the pad was called, Rosie. Is it an ergo mat? Is it
Ergo mat.
ergo?
I'm gonna close this because I keep barking.
Yeah.
Thinking it's an intruder.
And
Sometimes
which
he comes into
Sennheiser
the
is
studio.
the microphone?
Say it again.
Which
Ergo mat,
Sennheiser
that's
is
it.
your
No, the microphone is AK
AK-40. No, it's
Pepito.
AT-4040.
Pepito.
And the one in Studio B is a Sennheiser 416.
Vente.
The 4040 is a higher grade to the very popular 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not an expensive mic, but it sounds really great and it's very clean.
Yeah, I think I saw them recently. They're like maybe $200 now or $250.
Wow. Yeah.
The 2020s are now selling for like $70, I think. It's like
Wow.
really, really inexpensive.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah.
This is Pepito. He's usually quiet.
Is
But
he
if
the
you
one
knock
who's
on the
cooking in the
door-
kitchen?
Yeah, he hangs out upstairs, but if you hear someone knocking on the door, he gets territorial. So he thought I was coming in.
So, Rosie, you just mentioned the door in the background.
Yeah.
Tell us about the door, because most homes come with a hollow door, which is not
That's
super
right.
good for us, right? I'm
Yeah.
assuming this is something you put in that does not look historic, right?
No,
No, this is
we
something.
added it.
Yeah.
And on Zia's room too.
We had this installed. It's much heavier than a normal door. And I'm not sure what it's filled with, but it's not hollow, definitely.
It's heavy.
It's really heavy. And then I also installed these strips around here to kind of make for a better seal. We have a little bit of rubber sealing on the edges. So when you close this, it really seals up pretty tight.
Yeah, all of these things have helped a great deal,
Fabulous.
And then sometimes we record together, either as a family or as a couple. We get every now and then booked for, mother, son, or husband and wife. And it's a lot of fun because we just both get near the mic.
Yeah. And
we kind of take turns getting closer and farther from the mic at the exact moment when we have to do that, speak our parts. And it's fun. It's fun rather than doing it separately and, listening to the other person.
Is there communication between the two studios?
No,
No.
just by internet.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything that we save over there gets saved actually to a hard drive.
We have a
Yeah.
was it
I know.
no we have a hard drive
Yeah,
where we save all the sound files from all the computers.
exactly.
It's a network hard drive.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Because
that
we
allows
used
you
to
to open it
found-
up anywhere and edit, right? You could
Yeah.
edit, like you said,
That's
Brian,
right.
sometime in your studio, sometime in your office, sometimes in Studio B.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we work, as we mentioned, sometimes remotely when we're away from home. And actually, we work all the time with a remote engineer. He's actually in Boston, but I just upload to a drive that's similar to Google Drive that we work with Zoho, to our Zoho work drive, and then he edits our files.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, that makes it really easy, you know, to
But
work
we
with.
save all the files here in the studio
Yeah,
on
we
the
do.
network hard drive.
We do.
It has
Yeah.
tons of gigs of memory, so we
Yeah.
don't run out.
Yeah. And we can easily find, you know, work that we've done. Once it's completed, he puts it in a different folder, on a different folder in the work drive, and we can always access, you know, sometimes clients come back, you know, things that we did like the other day. Remember, More Advertising asked us for a file that we did about ticks and fleas and how to
Yeah.
protect yourself from a campaign in 2019.
Yeah.
And we found it. We found it. They decided that they wanted to make some changes anyway, but that was cool. They lost it, but we had it, you know. I felt very proud.
So that brings up two points. One, something that I have said for years, and I always remind voice actors, everyone, when you record something, you should write down the equipment, you should write down your settings if you
Yes.
can, write down the microphone you use. Because if someone does if a client contacts you down the road years later, if you know what microphone you used, it's a lot easier to match sound. Now there's some digital tools that can make that process much easier. But still, it's really nice to save your old microphones. In fact, to that point, if you upgrade your microphone, I would encourage you to save your old microphone so you
Yeah.
can go back
Yeah.
and use it for to
Yeah.
match sound.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we do, to that point, David, we do, when I record in Studio B, or anyone does, we have a naming convention, and I always put Studio B. So if it doesn't have
Hmm.
Studio B, it means by default it's Studio A, because, you know, this is more spacious, so we tend to record here more. But sometimes I want to record in Studio B for one reason or another, and I always write Studio B raw, you know, and that way I always know if they need a pickup, I need to go back in there, because it is slightly different than Studio A. It is. We use a different microphone. We use a different interface.
Yeah.
So we want to keep it consistent for the client.
Siobhan, something that we've not asked the voice actors on this program before, maybe we should start asking. I think this might be interesting. Rosie and Brian, how do you deliver sound or files to your clients?
Well, for a long time we used we used Dropbox. Now that we've started using Zoho, it's sort of a universal package. It has email, it has work drive, all these things. So you can use that to deliver the files, and that's what we're using now.
Yeah, because we bought the whole package.
But you know,
It's the Zoho one.
Yeah, we've also used WeTransfer. You know, that is pretty easy to do these days.
Yeah, it was Dropbox for many, many years. We only recently, in the last year, really started using the work drive.
Yeah, Zoho work drive.
Zoho work drive. Yeah.
I'm curious
I'm dropping that
if people
in the chat.
in the chat or people on the call have other thoughts about delivery, because audio delivery is a big part of this, right? You know,
Yeah,
finding a
It
way
is.
that's safe and secure for your clients. So if anyone wants to populate the chat with some thoughts or questions, that would be great.
You know, I
And-
have to
okay,
say
and
that if we didn't have Zoho, I was getting to the point where our friend Anthony Gettig, he uses WeTransfer, and he
Right.
put his branding on it. It looked beautiful. And I thought it was very, very consistent, WeTransfer. And to have your identity like that, your branding is lovely. We don't have that in the work drive. So I don't know. I was impressed. You know, it works. It always worked.
Yeah, we use
Mm.
WeTransfer at Edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
of the time. Occasionally clients have, I'm sure you have the same thing. Clients have specific requests, and
Yeah.
sometimes their own FTP built into their system, into their back end.
Yeah. Actually, for a while, we were playing around with doing that with using an FTP server, and it worked, but there's not really any need for that anymore.
Yeah, it's not that much.
Mm-hmm.
So questions. I'm
I've
looking at
received
the
a
chat here.
question. Yeah, I've gotten one directly to me that's, again, it's not super specific to, well, I guess everything can relate to one another. It's about getting into bilingual voiceover, and we can tie it into the home studio theme by did you guys, am I understanding that you all met in Albuquerque? Is that right?
No.
No. We met here in Boston. Yeah.
As musicians. Yeah.
Okay.
We met as musicians. kind of found love, created our first band. And then years
Yeah.
later, when we were looking to potentially change things up so we wouldn't have to tour and be away from our kids, that's when I started investigating voiceover and decided to pursue it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
found
I
that
I posted your website because it's beautiful.
Thank you.
But yes, I'm very passionate about websites, and I am critical person. So which, you know, I'm friendly but critical. So I you know, you were saying that putting yourself out there as a Spanish speaker, I mean, and then people were sort of Googling bilingual voiceover, you know, just to give a little, like, did you meet someone who was like, I need, you know, Spanish and English, or like, what was your first bilingual gig, maybe, or Spanish
my
speaking
gosh.
voiceover gig?
I don't know if I can remember my first bilingual gig.
Well, the first ones probably would have been the stories that they had us read for.
Well, yeah, well,
Scholastic.
that's true. The Scholastic stories. Yeah, way back when, but before we even imagined voiceover was
As a
going to be our
career.
career, because we were full-time musicians. Yeah. I guess that was it. Yeah, I guess that was it. But these days, you know, it's more like, especially PSA campaigns. We do a lot of PSAs in both English and Spanish. There's a need. And during COVID, we were busier than we've ever been in our history as voice actors, simply because we do a lot of health related e-learning. And there was a lot of training and information being disseminated about how to protect yourself from COVID and how to keep things, you know, keep yourself safe. And it needed to be in both English and Spanish. So when clients they found us online and they said, wait a minute, you do both English and Spanish without an accent. We need you. We need you as part of our team. And we worked so many hours, and, you know, we had the hours. We were socially isolated, and we had our little bubble here of our family. At that time, all four of us were recording, you know, and so we recorded in both Studio A and Studio B, and took, you know, the dog out for walks, and felt sad until such a time as we could get vaccines, you know, but we were very busy. Yeah. And thankful for that. You know, we were able, actually, one of the reasons that I was so happy we were busy was, first, it would take my mind away from how sad it was, what we were going through and how many people were in trouble. But also we were able to do fundraising concerts, streaming live, to help fellow artists, to help so many people that were going through all the pain that COVID caused in our community, not just the Latino community, all the communities, but especially communities of color. And that was a luxury that we had, because we made extra money that we could give away, and able to do these concerts. And it was really fulfilling, because, you know, you felt like you couldn't barely do anything, you know, and that was something we could do, was help others with the, you know, the regalo, the gift that we had been given of having so much work and not very many ways to spend it, because we were just staying home, not going anywhere, not spending money. And that was amazing to have that opportunity. It's not something we're used to, you know? Yeah.
And so we've talked about when you do e-learning, as Terry's asking, you usually use Studio A, and you're standing. You're not sitting voice actors, you are standing voice actors.
No, in both studios we stand. You can't even sit in Studio B. It's not an option, because the computer's very high. And here we have a stool.
We have a chair, a tall stool that we use occasionally, but usually we prefer to stand.
Yeah, no, I prefer it. There have been times when I've had long, really long sessions. Like I used to do 3-hour sessions. Frankly, I don't do them anymore, because I find that my voice isn't as fresh after 3 hours of e-learning, especially when you're doing kids e-learning and you have to speak really slowly. I would start putting myself to sleep. And I said, this is not a good idea. I want to be, a health notification. No, I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I would be so embarrassed. He'd say, I think you read the next line. I'd be, I'm so sorry. My eyes skipped ahead. I was falling asleep. But that's the truth. It would be, you know, I would lull myself to sleep, because it was such a long session and there weren't enough breaks. And little by little, I started educating my clients, actually, for vocal health and for freshness. It's really helpful if we stop every hour and you give me 10 minutes to do some yoga, go upstairs, a bathroom break. And things got better after I did that. And then now, you know, that we've been doing this for a while and we have a really loyal, you know, clientele, we can say, you know what, we don't do sessions that are longer than 2.5 hours. We just know. We know that we're better if we stick to this amount of time, and then we take a break, and then we can come back. And that's really worked for me, to set some boundaries, and for both of us to set some boundaries, and they respect it because they know that we're trying to do our best work. And that's how I frame it. I'm like, I want to do my best work for you. This is how you can help me. Can you live with this? You know, and sometimes there's budget issues, but sometimes they also get it that, you know, we can accept this, and let's build it so that it's a win-win for both of us. I think it's important to share that, because especially when you're newer, it's harder to set boundaries and indicate what you need. But you know, it's a negotiation. You know, if you really value the client, it's first time client, whatever, you do what you need to do. But over time, I find that it's helpful to be honest and ask for what you need. They can say no, that you should ask for what you need. That's our advice.
Speaking of these, boundaries and standing in long durations of time? Did we talk about air conditioning and how sweaty you get?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was doing a long project, and we were in a heat wave, and I swear I almost fainted in here, because we have an old house from the 1860s. We have no central air. So at that point, we started looking into ductless air conditioning, and we now have it in my office.
We have a mini.
I noticed it on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over there. And what we do is we leave the door open as much as possible.
Sometimes we put a fan in to bring the cool air in here and get a lot of cool air collected, and then we'll close the door and we'll be good for a while. But the mini split is amazing. It's because fantastic. It's very, very quiet, and it really cools things down.
That was a great question. Yeah, it was not sustainable a few years ago, when we didn't have that.
Being that this is the basement of the house,
it's always cooler.
It stays cooler for a while, but if you have several days that are like 85, 90 degrees, it's going to get hot down here as well.
Yeah, no, I was just completely perspiring and really uncomfortable, and it wasn't healthy. You know, it was not healthy. You couldn't turn on a fan or anything. So that really helped, because then during the breaks we would open the door, and like Brian said, we had a fan that would blow the air in. Yeah, we didn't do it this year, did we?
We haven't needed to.
Yeah, we missed some of the heat things, heat waves. We were away. Yeah.
Do you have sessions where you're on Zoom, where you're visually shown?
Yes.
With your clients?
Much more since COVID. And even after COVID, clients got used to that. So now I find that they're on with their cameras, and so I feel kind of peer pressure to to be on there. So I'm like always with my hair combed, you know.
I've had more just with Zoom, but only audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I feel like if people are showing their faces, I should be friendly and say hi, but that's just, I think that's my personality. So see, a lot of times once I start recording, I'll turn the camera off, but at least to say hi, it really feels quite personal to be able to see people and smile at them. And I feel it deepens the connection with the clients. So do you agree, Shimon? Yeah, right? So I've enjoyed it, actually. I suppose it depends on your personality, right? Because if you don't like that kind of thing and you'd rather be incognito, then maybe you don't want that camera. But I'm very extroverted and very social, so I like it a lot. You know?
Are you comfortable having a camera on in Studio B?
I don't believe we don't have a camera in there.
Well, no, I mean the phone.
Well, we could use the phone, but we've never done it.
Yeah, okay. I think I might have done it.
The monitor doesn't have a camera, so
no, the monitor doesn't have a camera. I've just used my phone, and I put it in the because we have a porta booth in there too. I've put it in there. So I have done it.
Yeah,
I have done it. Yeah, not a lot, but it usually is here. You know. Yeah.
Well, this was terrific.
Oh, good. I hope we've answered people's questions and maybe anticipated some of them, and that some of what we shared is useful, because that's what we wanted. I haven't been able to read all the messages, but Brian has been answering on my behalf.
I've never heard of that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that I have an app called Bonjoro, which is a video app, and it's they get an email that's a little recording of you, and I use it to thank clients, or I do a lot of various things, and it's nice because it's to your point, Rosie, that they can see you, and you have that, you deepen the connection by like sending a little, it was great working with you, and like thanks for having me, little
Thank
personal
you.
touch. Yeah, it's a
I
fun
like
program.
that.
It's really, yeah, it's cute, and I recommend it for just relationship building, which is, you know, a big part of
It's
the
such a
job.
huge part of what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I
Mm.
feel like it's great to have a studio that has great, sound reinforcement and good equipment. But I think that equally important is the um, capacity that each of us has and can implement to be as authentic as possible, connect with your clients, and make them feel authentically that you care about their project. And I care about every single project that I'm doing. I only do stuff that I believe in. If there's something that's a subject matter that I'm not in agreement with, I just say, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. And most, like 98% of the things that come my way, and I think it's because through social media and our emails, we make it clear what we care about, our values. And we get those projects now, and we have for years. And a lot of it is about communicating your passion for what they're bringing you, so it's really an authentic expression of gratitude. That's what it is. It's gratitude that they've chosen your voice to convey that message, and also to have fun during the sessions. As you interact on Zoom, or even if it's, a phone patch or whatever it is, I think that deepens the connection. And frankly, I think that's why we have such a great, loyal clientele that keeps coming back. Yeah. I recommend
Love
that.
to see it. Love to hear it. David, any closing remarks from you before we wrap this hour in our last couple of minutes?
Just gratitude. It was always
Thanks.
great seeing you two. Love the studio tour. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a confession. When we were invited to do this by you, David, I thought, oh no, we can't show people that we don't have a fancy studio. And now, like, what was I worried about? This is our studio. We love it. Our clients love it. We've been making our living for years from it. What's my problem? So I'm really excited and happy that we did this, because I totally overcame my fear of, I shouldn't be showing this.
I mean, what I love about our studio is that when I go to record, I don't have to step inside a box.
No.
I'm just in the room, and it sounds fine, but I have some space around me. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you to all of you who came to check us out. We really appreciate it and hope that we get to meet sometime.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. I've dropped a link for the our home studio show and tell page that David referenced earlier in the night, where we do have all of our recordings available for you to check out from the series that we've done over the years, in fact. And again, I'm going to drop in our new program for our unlimited voiceover workouts. Our Labor Day sale of 20% off is still going until the end of tomorrow, as I'm told. And I encourage you to take advantage of all of those things. I also want to, as always, shout out our team, our special guests today, Rosie and Brian. They've donated their time. Our free programming is something we've been offering since the pandemic, and obviously, well, after, if you want to say after, however you want to talk about it, in this place where we are in the world, we're still offering these things because, we not only do we care about maintaining this community, but our guests who join us donate their time to contribute to people learning and people sharing each other's strengths and skills. And I'm so grateful to both of you as well. It was great for me to get to meet you two tonight.
Likewise.
David, thank you. Thank you for bringing them into our world here. And truthfully, I appreciate it so much. So as you all might remember, our Ask Me Anything is now on a bit of a, I'm not going to say hiatus, but a special event schedule. However, our show and tell will continue. And David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe October 3rd is our next evening of home studio, the first Tuesday of every month. Am I right?
Yep.
Right?
First Tuesday of every month.
Right.
Yeah, you should all go
She
back and
loves
binge
it when
watch all the. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can all go
I was
back
just
and binge
complimenting
watch the past episodes.
That happens all the time.
As you should. Yes, as you should. And in the meantime, so we'll see you guys again next month. Rosie and Brian, thank you so much for your time, and much love to you both. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
And
so
y'all,
much.
I'm just gonna see them out with yes, with a little bit of well-deserved applause that they really,
Wait.
you know,
Wait. No, Siobhan. No, wait. Siobhan, wait. You need to tell everyone how they can download the chat. Right?
oh,
Because
well, I told them at the beginning of
because
the session,
I'm
but I
sorry.
can tell them again.
Oh, I didn't hear you say it at the beginning. Never mind.
At the beginning of the session, I said that you can click the ellipses underneath your chat, and you will see that it's next to the emoji. Your next option is to save the chat to
3 dots.
to your desktop. Yes, the 3 dots.
Right.
And
Because
then
when
that
we
as
post, when these are posted on our website and YouTube, the chat is not there.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Okay,
Not-
I figured. Yeah.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
everything is eternal. Some things are indeed.
Thank God.
Okay, everybody. I wish you all a very good late night if you're east side. Enjoy your evening if you're west side. In other parts of the world, I know we've got Brazil in the house. Please be well, and sweet dreams and afternoon and morning to you all. And thanks for being here with us. Yeah.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
David.
Siobhan.
Good night.
Bye, Rosie.
Thanks,
Bye, Brian.
David. Thank you, everybody.